Welcome to Spider-Verse Minute, the tri-weekly podcast where we watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 1 minute at a time. I'm Sean Slater.
And I'm his sister Caroline.
And today we're watching minute 41, which opens with Peter becoming intimate with a light post and ends a minute later with Miles interrogating Peter. What did you do with that light post?
Oh, it was funny. I have titled this minute, Thanks, New York.
Yeah.
There's a few things to be thankful for.
Light
Getting
posts?
into the light posts, the many accoutrement of things that Peter has also hit his head on.
Yes.
The fact this man doesn't get a concussion after this is a miracle.
Well, I mean, he might.
Good point. Still, it's a miracle if he doesn't.
Yeah.
Because he gets hit a lot in the head. It's there's the lamppost, the snowman,
a tree, the ground in the previous minute, the side of the bus, and then the ground again.
And the headstone in the minute for that too as well.
And then at the end of this one, he hits the ground again.
Ground, yeah. You brought up the bus. Can we talk about that bus window scene?
Yeah, well, I just want to kind of touch on the whole bit. Is I love how the music just drops in this, and
yes.
It's just like you get the whooshing of the leaves, and then just him like the hitting the snowman, and then smearing across the bus. Like that is such a great, like, the guy just looks up and is like, okay.
No, he has this look of like confusion. He's like, what am I looking at? The thing that cracks me up is not only Miles' like body position while he's clinging onto Peter, but like near the end, I don't think I ever noticed this, or at least forgot anyway. He kind of does a little like, what's up nod.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, and it just flies off. I'm like, that poor kid probably has so many questions.
Yeah. It was it's such a perfect, just like the squeaking on the window, yeah, Miles just holding on, it's very good.
It's fantastic.
And then right before he hits the bus, the one thing I wanted to bring up is one of the taxi cab advertisements. There was one for Heart Cable Radio, which really just like seems like an oxymoron.
It sounds like a parody of iHeartRadio almost.
Yeah, I think it is, but just the fact that it's cable radio is like that defeats the purpose of it being a radio if it needs a cable running to it. Like, that's not radio, that's just a telephone call. It's just, a party line. But yeah, I also like I'm guessing that's what they were parodying, but it's still like I kind of chuckled at it, where I was like, okay, sure, cable radio sounds good.
It's legit now. Then after that, which is great, and the bus window scene, which is also amazing, the train finally stops.
And they start falling to the ground.
First they kind of like, they stop, and then they're like, oh, you think it's calm? But then they start spinning.
Yes. And I love the bongos that they use as part of this. I'm pretty sure they're bongos, but the percussion hits that they use for the spinning. I love how it's just like, okay, slow at first, and then as they start spinning faster, it picks up.
It reminds me of like when my headphones get really twisted and I just kind of let them out, like they just start slow and they just start spinning up real fast.
Yeah.
And then they finally hit the ground. Peter's unconscious. Now, okay, before I go to Miles' line here, in this scene, I could be remembering wrong, but when we watched the animator's commentary, or maybe I saw it in like an Easter egg video, is there a Stanley cameo in this crosswalk?
Yes. So
Yeah,
Stanley is on his cell phone and steps over either Peter or Miles, one of the two, but he steps over their bodies.
Isn't he the one in the suit?
Kind of. I mean, there's a lot of people in suits. He doesn't have a sports jacket on.
Okay. I think I spotted him, but I wasn't sure.
Yeah, he like walks between the two of them.
Okay.
He has his hand up talking on the cell phone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
When Miles says, "All right, thanks, New York," Stanley is walking over them as he's saying that.
Yeah. But the setup for that line, which is, it's such a mood. And, like, I remember that line killed me the first time I saw this movie. Oh, yeah, it's such a great... And still proceeds to kill me. Again, I bring it up a lot. I live in the city. I love the city. Like, it is... But this is, like... I'm pretty sure I have done... Not this exact thing, but very similar things. Where it's like, you know, someone goes... Maybe you could do this, and you don't. You just continue what you're doing anyway. Yeah. But I love Miles. Is like, maybe you could go around. No? Alright.
Sure.
Thanks, New York.
Yeah.
It's so defeated, and I'm like...
Yeah, defeated, but doesn't really care. Like, it's just like, okay, whatever.
I have been both the Stanley cameo of just walking over them, and Miles. Like, I feel this on multiple levels. It's great.
And then we get 5 seconds of darkness.
Yeah, I'm like, this is a long time for a black screen.
Yeah, and I really like that. Like, I don't think I realized how long it was before, but...
I haven't either.
It's just, like, perfect. I love how it's just, like, it lingers there a little bit longer. It's pretty quiet, like, it's silent, and it's just, like, you know, a second or two longer than what you're... like is comfortable. And then I do like the fact that it opens up with Peter's point of view and him opening his eyes.
You talked about like one of your favorite jokes, like the whole gag of like something said and then it shows up as like one of your favorite gags. Well, this is one of my favorite like techniques. Like I never get tired of seeing this technique used of that, like you see the eyes blinking open and then you get to see from their perspective. I don't know why. I love when that is used, especially in animation. I don't know what it is. I love it. I think it's because you can kind of get away with the distorting an image that way. And it can get pretty fun because you're like, oh my gosh, imagine if you woke up and saw that.
Yeah.
Like it's a really good way to put the audience in the character's, like, vision, actually.
And I love, like, Miles trying to put on the tough front. He's like, hey, I got some questions, and his... like a mix between his like a tough voice but also his like man voice.
Remember, he's a man now.
Yeah, and so he's got to use his tough voice, but then Peter starts to struggle.
Before that though, the thing I think really cracks me up but leads up to the I got some questions is like he's blinking open and like his vision is double and you just hear kid electrocuted me with his hand.
Yeah.
And it's like, it was more his back, but you know. Like, it was still just so...
No, he does electrocute. He turns around and, like, swats at him. And,
That's right.
And his hand is what electrocutes him.
That's right. But that was so, like, just... Like, you say that sentence out loud, and you're like, oh yeah, that's confusing.
Yeah. Do you think Peter remembers like any of the other trip through the city, or has that all just been knocked out of his head?
I have no idea.
Like, is that just the last thing? Is like, oh, he got electrocuted, and then he wakes up in his
swarming. I think he was still in the daze. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Then we get a moment in there, and I do want to bring this up because I feel like I want to bring it up every time it's brought up, just because I do kind of like the repetition of it, and it's the spider sense. And he goes,
yeah,
you're like me. And it's like, oh, hey, we get that again.
Yeah.
And then we get Tough Miles.
Yeah, Tough Miles. But it only lasts for a brief second because then Peter does his like struggling. It's just pure gold.
It's great. I also just really want to point out, and this we see this when he struggles, is that Miles took him to his Uncle Aaron's apartment.
Yeah, like how how did he get there?
I was thinking the same thing.
Like, was Uncle Aaron's nearby, but like, weren't they being pursued by the cops? So did he just wake up and start like dragging Peter around? Like,
well, yeah, I don't think he ever fell asleep. I think he just kind of laid there taking a breather for a second.
Well, yeah, and then I guess wakes up, gets up is what I really meant.
But like, yeah, like how did it, like, does he just have a key to Uncle Aaron's apartment, or did he just go through the window?
Yeah, I bet he just crawled through the window.
Then that brings up a point. Like, how did he get Peter through the window?
I mean, I could just see him carrying him. He's got spider powers now. He's a bit stronger.
Good point.
But yeah, it's just like that's what I want to know how long this child with a corpse was. He was dragging him around the city before nobody noticed. I think like Uncle Aaron's gonna come home and just be really confused because there's a bunch of like bungee cords and a computer mouse and exercise equipment all like just roped around the bottom of the punching bag.
What I want to know is how long Peter was out, because not only did Miles have to get him to the apartment, tie him up, but he also had to set up the lights to backlight himself.
Yeah.
It's like, how much time did you have? What was the thought process with this setup here? I am very curious.
I mean, I would have done something similar. Is you want to, put the you tie them up so they can't escape. You put all the lights on them so they get under there. Like, I would have done the same thing as Peter.
No, it makes sense on why he did it. I just want to know, like, if he ever worried about, like, Peter waking up in the middle of this. Like, what if he just woke up and Miles is there, like, trying to figure out how to plug in the lights or something?
He's like, wait, no, not yet. It's just really dark and Peter's...
She's like, what's happening? What is happening?
And yet, talking about how he's tied up, I did love, like, you can see a computer mouse in there with its, like, cable tied around. It's just... pretty much anything that was like long enough to wrap around the body, it looks like he used to tie him up.
Do you think he had to take the punching bag down to tie him up and then hang it back up, or did he just kind of have to have Peter dangling there while he was tying him up? Because his feet aren't on the ground.
I think he would have left the punching bag up because it would have been too hard to like take it down and then pull it back up with Peter attached to it. I bet the first rope was just like underneath his armpits to keep him from like sliding down further.
I'm just gonna say, the more I think about this scene, the more I want someone to animate how they think this setup happened.
Yeah.
Like you know what? Someone make this. I need to know. I want to see your version.
This is the alternate scenes that we need to see. Is Miles tying Peter up?
These are the bonus features I needed.
Yeah. Do you have anything else for this minute?
Yeah, the last thing I just want to mention really quick, just because it made me laugh again, is that we get another mid-sentence cutoff.
Yeah.
And this one's... So it's like, why do you look like Peter Parker? I am Peter Parker. And the house goes, then why aren't you? And it cuts off. It's like, then why aren't you what?
What? Yeah. Why aren't you blonde?
Then why aren't you? That's it. That's all I asked. Like, then why aren't you? It's like, but he just said he was. Like, no, you're not. Clearly you're not. Why aren't you?
Yeah.
And that was the last thing. It just made me laugh. Like, we had some good line cutoffs this time.
Yeah. The last thing I have is a massive change in the alternate scenes. So, okay, brace yourself.
Okay.
This is very, very different.
Okay.
So, Miles, Peter's tied up, and he says, well, this is cute. And then he starts struggling. He does his struggle. And then when he spins around and stops, he says, okay, now it's less cute. And then Miles asks his question.
Oh, come on. Why did they keep that in?
It was such an odd difference. It kind
what a
of
strange cut. Like, what a strange addition, but also, like, what a strange cut, too.
Like, they had to cut out they had to go from his lips moving to not moving. But, like, that's the only difference. And I didn't even catch it the first time I was watching the alternate scenes. It was only when I was going back and looking at, like, a couple other things. I was like, wait, did that actually happen? Did I hear what I think I heard?
Was this, like, one of the more animated ones, or...?
No, literally, like, it's 100% animated. Like, it's identical to the movie.
They just cut the lines.
Yeah, they just cut the lines and made it so his lips didn't move. It was It was very strange.
Oh my god. That's hilarious. Why did they cut that?
Yeah.
Oh, now I want those back in. Director's cut. That's added.
Yeah.
This is cute. This is less cute.
It was like perfect.
Do you have anything else for this minute?
No, that was the last thing I had.
Thank you all for listening, and we will catch you on Friday with Minute 42. See you next time.
Bye.